Happy New Year, everyone. It's Blue here at Blue Bears Games, and today's video will be my upgrade guide for the Universes Beyond Fallout Mutant Menace Commander precon. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to ask for your help in supporting my channel, which can be done in the following ways: subscribing to the channel, sharing any of my content on your socials, watching some of my many other videos, purchasing super thanks, purchasing channel memberships, purchasing decks that you may have seen on this channel directly from me on the Blue Bears Games Facebook page, and/or visiting our sponsor at arcane-fortress.com and using discount code BlueBear at checkout if you decide to purchase any of their amazing gaming supplies from them. Anything that you do will help support my channel immensely, and I thank you for it. Now that that is out of the way, let's get to today's video. As usual, for this guide, I'll start by showing you the cards that I would recommend removing first, and then I'll show you the cards that I would add back in that I believe will help make this deck either more fun to play a little better, or best case scenario, both. So, after looking at the deck a little closer, I realized that the +1/+1 counters theme is actually the main theme of the deck, and the rad counters is more like a heavy sub-theme. While I wanted to focus more on the rad counters, the lack of cards outside of this precon that advance that theme, combined with the sheer amount of cards that advance a +1/+1 counter theme, has made me shift directions to focus more on a creature-based win con. The strategy that I would deploy here is diversion, where you play on people's hate towards mill, letting them focus on taking pieces out that give rad counters, while simultaneously building up an army that just keeps getting bigger and bigger, then turning dudes sideways for the win. Doing this means that the options for cards to remove were limited, so the cards that will be added back in to replace them will have to have a huge impact. The deck needed more card draw, more ways to deal damage outside of combat in case that option wasn't viable, and more removal of some sort, but the amount of spots was limited, and my suggestions are more budget friendly, so options all around were limited. I believe what I'm about to show you does the job nicely, so let me show you what I would do, starting with what I would take out first. I would remove Temple of Deceit, Temple of Malady, Temple of Mystery, Lily Bowen Raging Grandma, Mirelurk Queen, Strong the Brutish Thespian, Biomass Mutation, Find and Finality, Vault 87 Forced Evolution, and Recon Craft Theta. That's 10 cards in total that I have chosen to remove, and all of these removals were chosen based on their lack of efficiency for what they do. By now you should know my disdain for temples, and I believe there were too many lands in the deck by 3, so it was just a happy accident that all 3 temples could go. The rest had abilities that fit the strategy of the deck, but the cards I'm about to recommend adding in their places are just much better for what it's trying to do. What cards do I think were better, you ask? Well, let me show you. For the most part, the lands and ramp cards that they included in the box were decent enough that I didn't feel it necessary to add any of those types of cards back in, so I'll skip to the creatures. There were 3 in total that I felt would be much better in this deck than the ones that I removed. The first one is Walking Ballista. As far as creatures go, this is one of the best creatures in the game for a +1/+1 counter-based strategy. It has built-in ways to add counters to itself and deal damage directly to any target you want, both at instant speed. Additionally, it is part of many infinite combos that need very few pieces to assemble that most of the time lead to winning the game. The second creature is Evolution Sage. The ability to proliferate without spending any resources is a rarity, but that's what this card does essentially. Sure, you can only play 1 land a turn, but green has ways around that. One thing to note is that the proliferate ability helps both the +1/+1 counter theme and the radiation counters theme, so it pulls double duty. And the third and final creature that I'll recommend is Sir Conrad the Grim. This will be the only card I'll suggest that deals solely with the radiation counters theme of the deck. Why? Because it's another way to deal damage to everyone outside of combat, and most likely will pull attention to it over a lot of your other creatures. Like I said earlier, diversion. The only instant/sorcery that I'll recommend adding in is Wave Goodbye. It's not exactly removal, but it's close enough for the monetary cost. I wanted something that was a one-sided board wipe, but those are usually very mana intensive, so this was the compromise. However, if used correctly, This will either help turn the tide of a game or win you the game outright. Next, I will recommend 4 enchantments. 3 of them play very well off of each other, but are also very good on their own. They are Garrick's Uprising, Tribute to the World Tree, and Stocking the Pantry. I chose these 3 as ways to provide repeatable card draw. Garrick's Uprising's main objective is to give your creatures trample, and the card draw is a bonus because it comes with caveats. The Tribute is here to beef up those smaller creatures, and the bonus is that it will also help Garrick's Uprising's card draw ability to trigger. The Pantry is here purely to add consistent card draw, but this is helped by the Tribute amongst all the other ways that the deck can add counters to things. And finally, the last enchantment that I'll recommend adding back in is Simic Ascendancy. This is mostly here to try and sneak a win in, but the ability to add counters to creatures at instant speed is a huge bonus. Now let's talk about a combo that works really well in this deck. It uses a card that came in the box, Feral Ghoul, plus Animation Module and Ashnod's Altar. When combined, these 3 cards can lead to infinite +1/+1 counters on Feral Ghoul, infinite colorless mana, infinite death triggers, infinite enters the battlefield triggers, infinite leaves the battlefield triggers, infinite mill, infinite radiation counters for opponents, infinite sacrifice triggers, and infinite creature tokens. If you don't see how this works, click on the link that just popped up at the top of your screen and it will explain how. I liked this combo a lot because it fit the counters theme well, and it can even turn Walking Ballista into a win con thanks to the infinite mana that it generates. So there you have it, folks, my upgrade guide for the Universes Beyond Fallout Mutant Menace Commander precon. While everything that I just showed you won't make this precon a top tier deck, it will help make it better overall. Also, while the recommendations that I just gave you will make this deck better, if you really want to, you could spend some money on either counter doublers or some really nice mill pieces and go that direction instead. The thing is, everything that I just recommended cost less than $40 total at the time of filming this, and some of the counter doublers and good mill pieces are that much each. It just comes down to what you think is worth putting into this precon. While it looks fun, I think there are better precons that you might want to put that money into. So, what do you think? I'd be interested in hearing what you think about the changes that I just recommended in the comments. Well, folks, that's all I've got for you this week. Thanks for watching, and if you're looking for more Magic content to watch, please browse my playlist, as I'm sure you'll find more of my videos that you'll enjoy. Before you go, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, so you can be notified when I release new content, which is typically every Friday. Enjoy the rest of your day, Happy New Year, and I'll see you all next week.